Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Carlisle Clan Budgeting. This is Pat again, and we are getting ready to start part 6 of beginning budgeting 1A, using what I have learned throughout the years and kind of narrowed down, plus using what Dave Ramsey teaches about with the 7 steps into financial freedom. Only we're approaching it from a real person's budgeting plan with real money, and how we really have to look at things in a straightforward way. So if you haven't been following along, I do have the other parts in this series, and you may want to start binge watching from part 1, where we talk about how to start a budget and where to get our things from. We have not set our final budget up yet on what we're looking at. We've only been working on what I've been calling step 1A, which is looking at where our outgo is and oppose our income, and seeing what we can do along the way to help fill those necessary gaps that we have and figure out how to budget. Because remember, our goal is to successfully budget, not to be overextending, not to overplan, not to stress ourselves out. And one of the things that Dave Ramsey kind of has a little bit of fun with, I think, is when you have a significant other. In my case, my husband Joe and I am definitely the nerd. I am the one that, I have it written down in a notebook because that's how my husband prefers it, because he likes to have something he can touch and feel and look at and see on a visual basis. I have it written in this notebook. I've got my envelope set up. I have Google Express sheets set up, where we talk about and set everything up on Google. I just am. And as we're moving forward, you'll see, and I'll show you some of the things on which I'll also have links for. So if you're interested in doing that. So if you're at all interested, please remember to like, love, share, give your comments. How is this budgeting process going for you now that we're on part 5? I know that we're getting ready to do what I say is week 3 on our budget for April, and getting those steps into motion. But how's it going for you? Are you able to start logging in, writing down where your money is going? Remember how we have kind of separated some things out, because most of my bills are paid right online. I just take the money out, which is where my cash money comes from, and I budget for the different things other than the main bills, because ultimately your goal is you want a roof over your head, you want to pay the electric, you want to pay the water. Internet is mandatory, especially if you do anything online. You kind of have to have the internet. Your car payments have to come out. Those kind of, this is the minimum I need to survive stuff is where we're focused right now. There is plenty of time to create a budget or a zero-based budget if that's the way you want to do it. There is plenty of time for all of the highs and the lows of budgeting that we're going to go through. Right now, we're just figuring out where our money's going so that we can have a realistic look at and a realistic goal. Because you do not want to overextend yourself on budgeting, because all it's going to do is cause you to stop. So let's get this party started. So one of the things that we've talked about as we're working our way and going back to basics, and if you were with us in part 4, as I was working on April and I got here and I am the nerd and this is ugly to me, I did go back and rewrite it just so that the numbers are a little bit more clear, a little bit more obvious as we're working our way down. We are getting ready to start week 3. We determined, based on how I was spending money in the month of March, that $121 a week was a realistic budget based on the amount of money I spent at grocery stores in the month of March. We looked at how much money I was spending on gas in the month of March, and so we determined that $60 was a good starting point for where gas is going. And if gas is as ugly in your area as it is here, it's going back up again. So we're going to definitely have to take another look at that. We talked about going out to eat. It is just my husband and I, so sadly and truly, I don't cook as much as I used to at home, but we're about to change that again. And then my husband definitely likes to have coffee. We have his favorite coffee shop here in our area called Just Love Coffee. And, easily can spend $20 a week there. So I do budget him out $20 a week for coffee. My husband definitely is not a envelope person. He prefers to work out of our account. So oftentimes this money is left in the account in that buffer section that we're going to start talking about soon. So he can just use his debit card, which also allows me to take a realistic goal of how much he's actually spending each week at the coffee shops. Because my husband is not good at saving receipts, so that we can also adjust it for our things. So if your spouse or even you prefer to do everything out of your debit card, we can function that way too, but it's important while we're getting started for us to get to those basics of separating our money, realistic budget, realistic goals for how much we stand. Because our rent, our electric, our water, our internet, our car payment, those are mandatory dollar amounts that we can't work with. We just can't. But we can work with these other things that do come out of our monthly budget that we can control. You know, if I can't spend $120 this week on groceries, I'm going to have to figure out what meals I can do that will keep me in that range. If I find that I need more money, then definitely going to stop doing takeout and start putting more money into my weekly and start having to cook more at home. These are all things that you are going to look at as you're moving forward. So let's talk about week 3. So one of the things that I do once the money is removed from my account, again, my husband likes to know what's paid, what's not paid, so we can have a better look at what we need to focus on. So during week 3, all of these things I either went in to pay or were automatically removed from our budget. So these are all paid. So the mandatory things for week 3 were definitely taken care of. And then I went in and I looked and saw, well, how much did we spend on groceries? Oops, that's not that week. That's week 2. Sorry about that, guys. Hang on one second. Week 2, week 3. Oh no. Week 4, there it is. Sorry about that. So I went in, real world stuff happening, people, and keeping organized. So I went into week 3 and I looked and I saw that we spent $74 at Walmart, then we spent $22 at Publix, and we spent $19.42 at Winn-Dixie. That was the total amount of money we spent on groceries. But notice this here. Remember, we're doing our 3 envelopes, and the habit of using an envelope system. We wrote the names of 3, like fun, gas, and food on the envelope. We've started working and putting in $20 a week into each envelope, because one of the things we have to do, if we have not already been using cash, is get in the habit of using cash to help guide us as we're budgeting through. So I did note that one of these will be coming out of my cash envelope and the other 2 were on our debit card. I spent a total of $115.93, and I was able to keep this week's underneath my budget for the week. So that was really good. And then at gas, obviously $52.18 for gas, and then I did use all of my cash envelope another day for gas. We do a lot of driving where we live, sad but true, so gas does our gas guzzling. Even though we drive a Camry, we go through a lot of gas. So this week I spent $72.18 on gas. So that was a little bit over our budget, which was very sad. But if you notice, the last couple of weeks we were able to stay underneath in our budget a little bit, so that was definitely helpful. On takeout this week, we went through McDonald's and we went through Chinese buffet, and that rang us to $50.29. So again, I was able to stay under budget a little bit this week, so that was definitely good. And then one of the things I don't have here, but is definitely one of my envelopes over here, is my fun money. And oops, wait, that was $13.38. We went to Twisty Treat and we got a couple of ice creams because it was really hot one day and we just wanted to celebrate a little bit. And then for coffee, my husband was visiting our son that works at the USF bookstore, and that's what he spent on coffee. And then he spent 2 other times he stopped for coffee, and his total for coffee this week was $15.31. So again, he again was able to stay under budget. So that's kind of what I wanted you to see this week is sometimes we're going to go way over. Like I did with grocery shopping here, like we did with coffee. Sometimes we're going to be able to stay under the budget that we had set aside for the coffee. And so hopefully by the time we get to the end of week 4, this is all going to work out so that it was stayed under budget for the month, or we were able to move some finances around while we're figuring out our goals. Remember, just because I overspent or just because I underspent, this is not a failure. This is not a success. This is, okay, this is what I'm really doing. And that's why it's under the word actual, because this is how I'm really doing with this. Sometimes my numbers are going to be great, and sometimes they're going to be way below what I actually spent. And again, there's nothing wrong with that yet. We're trying to figure this all out during the month of April. So when we move forward to May, we can set a better realistic goal, because now we'll have the month of March dollars and we'll have the month of April dollars to compare them and find out what is a better realistic number to be looking at in this position. Okay, so that takes care of where I was during week 3, during April 15th through the 21st, and that's basically what we were able to spend. So I'm going to say this week, even though our gas budget was ugly, we pretty much had a good week with our guesses on tentatively amounts of spending, so that was a good thing. Now, the envelopes. Remember, we tentatively set up 3 envelopes, food, gas, and fun money, just to get in the habit, because habits are very important to start. And they say it normally takes 21 days, and that's why we've started doing it during the month of April, and that's why we've started doing it with a small amount. Each envelope is only getting $20, so we get into the practice and the habit of using cash and getting our envelopes and our designations set up. So let's talk about fun money since we started there. I spent $13.28 at Twisty Treats, and I had a total of $25, because remember, one of the words we're using with our envelopes is rolling it over. I know that if we've been watching a lot of the cash spending and the filling of envelopes or unstuffing of envelopes and different things like that while we're trying to figure this whole out and see what's going to work best for our own family and our own family budget, people will take out all of the money and start with a fresh new. Because we're in the learning process, I want us to learn the word rollover. If there's any money in these envelopes that's in the bills section, we're keeping the bills in our envelope and rolling it over the following week. Because life happens, let's face it. We're in this position because life happens a lot. So I had $11.72 left over. So I'm going to take out my change and put my dollars back in. And I'm going to add another 20 today, which is the 21st. So 4/22, I'm going to add 20. And this will be zeroed out again. So that will give me $31 for fun for this coming week. And all of this change, I've kind of figured out what I want to do with our change that's left over this month, because remember, we're in the beginning process. What I want to do is I want to go to Walmart, and I found a box of smaller envelopes that aren't going to have all kinds, like my fun money one does, all kinds of writing on it, that I can help be organized. And these smaller envelopes are going to fit in my purse and my wallet a little bit better. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. And this box, and I'll put the link in the discussion down at the bottom with my description details, is on sale or for sale at Walmart for 97 cents. So I'm going to go ahead when I do my Walmart order, once I count all my change at the end of the month, because you know what? Savings goals and saving challenges are good. So what I'm going to do is use my change that I've gathered through this month, going through these small envelopes that I have right now, and get 97 cents out of my cup and use this as my goal. My goal is to get some envelopes. Okay, and then along the way, if there's something else I feel like I need to get me through the month of May for budgeting, I may start a budgeting envelope just know that this is going to be my budgeting money, so that I can get anything else I feel I need. But the whole goal is to do this and start this whole project by doing it yourself, using the supplies you have at home. You may already have these envelopes and may already be using it. You may be like me and didn't have a box of envelopes in the house, so had to use envelopes that came in the mail and just repurpose and reuse them. There is nothing wrong with that, okay? All right, so those are the envelopes that I'm going to use for my change drawer. Okay, now food. For food, I went to Winn-Dixie. I spent $19.42. So from my money saving, that left me $1.58. My dollar and my 58 cents is going in my change jar, so I can use that towards my envelopes. My dollar is going back in here, and I'm going to put that 20 in here to add 20. Scratch that. That's going to be 0 because I took the dollars out. 422. I'm going to add $20 to that. So now I have $21 in my food budget. Oh, $20 in my fun money envelope too. And then obviously I put all of the $20 in for gas, so gas is back to 20. So 422 plus $20. So I'm back to $20. Now, writing everything down is important because if you're anything like me, if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget what I did or what I didn't. Sometimes you're going to save your receipts and you'll have your receipts in your envelope to help you refresh later, and sometimes you won't. That's why I like to have the envelopes and I like to write down everything along the way. That way I have good instant recall. So that's where we are for the month of April. And just like I've done before with my Google Sheets, I'm double checking everything again just to kind of make sure that I haven't forgotten any bills. Because remember, holy moly, I completely forgot about my Walmart monthly bill. So I have to write that in for my list of dates during the month that things are going in. Now this was for April. And when I set up May and I show you what May looks like, some of these dates are going to be a little bit different because there's not as many days in, there's more days in May than there are in April. So my due dates may fluctuate a little bit. So when we set that up, you're going to see how it looks on my Google Sheet. Remember, I'm the nerd. I love Google. I love Excel. I love to get everything written out like that. All right, guys, thank you so much for everything this week, and this is the end of part 5. Please, if you have any questions, comments, like, share, subscribe, so we can keep this party going. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.